Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. Yes, sir. Welcome in. It's a jam-packed show today. I'm telling you, we took it all, packed it into a small container, which is this very program, and lit it on fire and said, let's go. Okay, so here's the lineup today. Patrick Colbeck, big announcement coming from President Trump tomorrow, which I don't know if you're paying attention to. It's a massive one. He's been hinting about it. Has something to do with election integrity. We're going to fill you in. Pat Colbeck coming up at 10 a.m. this morning. Maha Missy will be here today with an update. We've got three massive health stories that are on top of the list this morning. I want to get into all those as we get in. In fact, some of them in our big three. We'll start breaking them down for you today. And then Congressman John James is running for governor here in Michigan. He'll weigh in on a few of these stories, and we'll hear from him on the campaign trail as things are heating up. We're just days away from that primary vote happening at the beginning of August. In fact, people are already starting to vote right now. Absentee ballots are already going on. We'll talk about all of that coming up on the program. Your questions as well. Jump into it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. If you haven't already done it, click share on the program today. That helps get the word out, plus everything inside the store. The America 250 gear, the Justin store right now, justinbarclay.com/store is up for grabs. But we want to give you something for free. If you help us break the algorithm, get the word out about what's going on here, truth, logic, and common sense is stories you won't hear anywhere else. When you click share at the end of the show, we'll pick your name. And of course, you don't have to be present to win. But we want to make sure that we reward folks for helping us out, get the word out to folks that need to hear these stories. Big thank you to the folks at My Pure Health Solutions, Maha Missy, and the team, healthwithjustin.com. Call them at 269-964-4044 in order to get your free call and, of course, find out what we're doing. 40 pounds down, myself, my wife, and so many others that listen to this program are seeing just incredible results. And Mike Lindell and the team at My Pillow or mystore.com/Justin. Use the promo code. Save big. Support Mike in his fight for the governor. And again, massive election integrity update coming, it looks like, tomorrow from the president. We're going to get to that and more coming up in just a moment. But the stories that matter most, the ones you'll be talking about around the water cooler at the dinner table, no matter where you are, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. The big three today, locked and loaded, and like I said, ready to roll. Let's kick things off with the conversations you'll be having today. That Canadian wildfire smoke is right up there. It's a Canadian invasion, and it's drifting into Michigan as we speak yet again this year. I posted this on X yesterday. Can we have one stinking summer? Can we not just have one stinking summer without this Canadian invasion again? And you know how these people are up north. God bless you in the 51st state. But it's the policies of the government there that's leading, unfortunately, to these nasty every summer smoke-filled skies, the smell, and then the air quality. Horrible for folks. And I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the fact that they just have not addressed the issues when it comes to the forest management. California has the same problem. And some people will make the case this is a natural thing, How come it's just recent in years, the last couple of years? Somebody want to break that down for me? We'll get into that coming up here in just a little bit. I do think it's a big health story as well. And like I said, we got Maha Missy to weigh in a little bit later on. In the day and age where, Bill Gates wants to blot out the sun, and he's made that case. I don't think it's coincidence. Probably not the answer. Trump says they'll save the energy targets in the bridges, by the way, power plants and bridges for last, warning they'll hit them both next unless Iran negotiates while maintaining pressure through the ongoing 5 straight days now. U.S. CENTCOM reports of those hits on targets in Iran. And third, the U.S. House passing the Sunshine Protection Act. Has nothing to do with the Canadian wildfire smoke. This is all about daylight savings time. Where are you on that? I'm just kind of curious. I like the late summers here. I like how the sun stays up to 10 o'clock at night here in Michigan. I might have picked that, but it would change the way things work throughout the winter months when maybe some of us figure we need it the most. Those stories and more, and of course, like I said, a couple of those big ones for a Maha Health Report. We'll get into all of that and more coming up with our good friend Maha Missy on the program as we are locked in and ready for another big, fantastic day here on the program. Like I said, lots to cover. We got lots of ground to get to as well. And I love to hear from you in the chat. You can drop your notes in the chat this morning. And I know we got some folks over on Locals. Gritter made it back for the first time, I think, in days. Welcome back, Gritter. We were starting to wonder, we thought maybe we'd have to send a search party out for you, but you're here. Patriot Dean is here. Good to see you, Cook Garden Show. Sharon and so many others. J.M. Timmer inside over on Locals in the VIP. And yes, Rumble. SJ, a Canadian himself. What is going on, SJ, in the great land of Canada? Up north, our neighbors to the north in the 51st state. I know there's a lot of common sense folks in the country, but for some reason the commies have kind of taken over. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an insight into what's going on there. Tennisel, Jay Horton, good to see you. Schmalzy and more. And on the book this morning, we got folks weighing in with us. Terry, Lori, Jesse, and Joanne, Mary, Sherry, Doug. Thank you for being here with us, Bunny, and so many others as we get this party started. I see over on the tube, John is here with us as well. Again, we're at Facebook, Twitter, X, Rumble, Getter, Locals, YouTube. You name it. So here's what the daylight savings bill, by the way, just passed in the House. It's going to the Senate next. It could be a thing. I kind of like this, but maybe you'll weigh in and let me know how you feel. Efforts in Congress to make daylight saving time permanent sprang forward Tuesday after the House passed the legislation. It's Trump-backed stuff here. That would remove the need for Americans to adjust their clocks twice a year. The measure known as the Sunshine Protection Act Past 308 to 117. Very popular. It puts the country on the time currently we're on right now from March to November, unless a state exempted itself before the act took effect. So if we stay on the time we're on right now, then we would have the longer nights in the summer. Kind of like that. I kind of like that. But would it then mean that it doesn't get light here? You have to think about this. It doesn't get light here until late in the morning in the wintertime. Is that the issue that folks would have with it? President Trump publicly pushing Congress to pass the legislation sponsored by Rep. Vern Buchanan out of Florida. He wrote May 21st on True Social that he was going to work very hard to see the Sunshine Protection Act signed into law. All right, so those are just a couple of the big stories that we're looking at this morning. And we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants because in this new role, the new situation that we're in the undisclosed location and the bunker, things are a little bit different. So I'm going to bring our first guest on here. In fact, I think he might have something to say about the Sunshine Protection Act himself. Congressman John James, running for governor here in Michigan, joins us now. Congressman, good morning and welcome in. We appreciate you being here with us.
Well, thanks for having me back on, Justin. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I'm glad to be able to discuss with you guys.
Hey, did you vote for this, by the way? I'm just curious.
I'm looking at everything, and this particular issue is something that is really going to strike both ways for Michigan. In the winter, as you mentioned, we have school, and our children are already struggling with the darkness that persists long time. And then in the summer, the benefit is we have longer summers to enjoy how beautiful our state is. So it cuts both sides because we are a little bit farther north, a lot farther north than Florida. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that ultimately this is going to be something that we'll adjust to and actually save lives.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm a fan of the Michigan summers. The winter's not so much. I don't know if you can do anything about that as governor.
Well, I love the winters too. Michigan is amazing in the winter. It's amazing in the summer. It's amazing in the fall and spring. I mean, there's a couple on the sides that's just mud, but there's amazing things. Michigan is renowned for its beauty. And what I can do as governor is focus more on stewardship than protectionism. And what Deagle is doing, frankly, is making it impossible for anyone to enjoy anything. And they're making things more expensive. They're making it tougher for people to survive and enjoy the state. So I'm a big outdoors guy, a big sportsman. And right now, while I'm in the swamp, my family's in the UP enjoying beautiful Michigan weather.
Yeah, it's this time of year my favorite. I'm not necessarily against the winter. I like it till about maybe January 15th. For me, it's the lack of sunshine in the winter. I love the snow, the cold. None of that bothers me as much as the lack of sunshine that kind of gets you. But I got to ask you, this is another big story today. That is, and again, there's so much to talk about when it comes to these issues that you're facing. People are talking about. I'm sure when you're on the trail, but this is going to be a big one in the next couple of days. But the Canadian wildfire smoke situation is again rearing its ugly head on us here in Michigan. Can we just have just one summer? I thought we were going to make it where we don't have this issue to deal with. But on one hand, it's the smell. On the other hand, it's the skies, the way they kind of look an orange or a brown sometimes when we deal with this. But for a very important reason, seriously, for folks in the air quality, dealing with those breathing problems, it can be an issue for them too. Is there anything that can be done here? I mean, I know the president's looked at taking a look at making them the 51st state, but in all seriousness, a lot of these reasons we see in California and maybe similarly in Canada as well, where it's really a lack of the management that really can be. You mentioned stewardship when it comes to how we deal, but is there anything we can do?
Yes. And as governor, I'm extremely passionate about the beauty of our state, our air and our water. We deserve to have clean air and clean water. And the Canadians lecture us about climate change. Meanwhile, they are not doing the least of what's required to manage their own forestry. And it's is causing health concerns, not just summer and beauty, but health concerns. Are people who are frail, people who are young, people who are aging, people who have asthma, like my son, who struggle when the air is choked off with this smoke. We have such a small summer, yes, and we want to enjoy it, but this is also a health concern. There's more carbon emissions emitted in these Canadian wildfires each and every single year than all of the vehicles that we produce in the entire nation. And so, if they want to lecture us on climate change, they should probably handle their own affairs. Among the things that I can do as governor is focus on not just MOUs that have been in place since Ronald Reagan implemented them back in 1982, but Michigan can be a leading partner to not just prevent, not just protect against wildfires, but prevent them. Disaster preparedness is going to be a key element for the next governor of the state of Michigan. The spills and runoffs, floods and erosion, wildfires, extreme weather. If you go up to northern Michigan, right up in the northeastern side, the ice storms did a number on our brothers and sisters a couple years back, and now all that's on the ground is dry tinder.
Mhm.
If you look at that and you're not terrified of the potential of damage and loss of life, then
Yeah.
you're not paying attention. I've been all over the state. We need to make sure that we are working with our state government to get elements to protect us against wildfires. And then at half the cost, we can partner with Canada to make sure that they're able to handle that. And maybe we'll be able to drive some revenue to our state as well while we're protecting Michiganders. I'm working on a plan to actually get firefighting and fire prevention assets up to and including firefighting helicopters, firefighting planes, and then additional training, working back and forth with the Canadians. I believe this will improve our relationship with the Canadians and eliminate these wildfire risks, which will reduce cost and health concerns for Michiganders. Again, protecting the beauty of our air, protecting the beauty of our land, protecting the beauty of our water is our governors among their top priorities. But protecting the lives of Michiganders is number one. And these wildfires, working with the Canadians to at half the cost be able to protect our land and theirs, I think is in all of our best interest. But right now, initially, they need to get their act together.
Yeah. It's good to hear you say that. I know this is one of these head scratchers for a lot of us that in Michigan we just think, can't we figure this out? And I'm glad to hear that you've taken it seriously. All right, this next one is making the rounds over the last couple of days. In fact, we've heard the president speak about this very seriously. In fact, there's a big address set up Thursday that he's been teasing that looks like will cover some of this conversation. This is Senator Alyssa Slotkin, and she is making the case that Democrats, if the SAVE Act is passed, which I think is like 80-20 approval rating. It's kind of insane how many people really love this, want to see it, get it done. But she says if it passes, Democrats will.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election. And disenfranchise all married women in the meantime, by the way. It just you have to show your birth certificate at the polls if you have a married name.
None of that's real. Saying the quiet part out loud, though, it would make it harder for them to cheat. So I guess it would make it harder for them to win.
Yes, it would make it harder for them to cheat. Remember when we were called election deniers for pointing out the glaring irregularities and the blatant just cheating, like Johnson Benson allowing 16 illegals to vote, and they said that this was the most secure election. They said nothing to see here. And listen to Senator Slotkin talk. Do you hear the smugness in her voice? That's what they think of you. That's what they think of you. They think that you don't have the understanding of what they understand. They think they're better than us, and they don't believe that truly democracy works. These are the same people who deposed a sitting president in their own party to give them a better chance to win, and then tried to lock up our president when they knew he could beat him. And then, despite that fact, they still didn't win because the people had their say. I'm telling you, with free and fair elections, socialism doesn't win, communism doesn't win, Democrats don't win, and they know it. They're saying the quiet part out loud. And this is why it's so important. I supported the Save America Act since its inception, and I continue to vote for it to this day. We need to have a stronger voter ID to make sure that illegals aren't voting in our elections and making sure that nobody can cheat. Jocelyn Benson is presiding over her own election when she's let hundreds of illegals onto jury duty roles and at least a dozen illegal immigrants that she's admitted to. How many more are there that she hasn't admitted to? Right now, she's going to be presiding over her own election, and we cannot allow that to happen. If Jocelyn Benson wins, there is no hope for election integrity ever again. We need to guarantee the vote. And among the things that I'm going to do as governor is guarantee election integrity so that you know your vote counts, only your vote counts, no illegals vote, no sanctuary cities, because we have 2028 coming up, and we need to make sure that our presidential is locked in tight. So again, it is of vital importance that Republicans show up to the polls on August 4th in the primary and also on November 3rd to make sure that the socialists, communists who will take your rights away and will smugly say in public that they don't want your voice to be heard because they think they know how to run your life better than you.
Now we see we've got the DOJ, in fact, sending in folks, and I think this is a good move to monitor. In fact, not just the primary here coming up, but I think in not just in Michigan, but other states as well. I don't see why anybody has a problem with this unless you have, some real explaining to do on why things are the way they are in your state. Obviously, this has got to be something you're in favor of as well.
Absolutely, 100% in favor of free and fair elections and ones we can trust, ones where ballots aren't arriving in the dark of night. And one where the people don't question their election. So again, it is right for the people to question, and it is appropriate for the government to stand and deliver. And so the government should work for the people, not the other way around. Our rights are endowed to us by our Creator, and the government was instituted amongst men to guarantee those rights. And any government that does not guarantee those rights is illegitimate. And having a leader of the state of Michigan who recognizes that the power belongs with the people, not with larger government, is a governor that's appropriate and for to lead the people.
Yeah, it is. It's something to why, you've been on the trail here, talking to people, having conversations. What are the biggest things that you're hearing most about right now when it comes to what people are most focused on here in Michigan?
People around the state of Michigan are extremely frustrated with the damage that's been done by the Democrats over the past over 7.5 years. They're looking at the Green New Deal policies that have passed that have taken control from the locals and put it in the hands of Lansing, which is the reason why I'm going to be working to repeal PA 233. This is one of the key culprits, the reasons why they're able to pave our productive green farmland with data centers and with solar panels and with wind farms. We're going to be supporting local control. We're going to make sure that anything that's implemented, like data centers, doesn't jack up our electricity bills, doesn't pollute our water. It prevents the increase of noise pollution and things of that nature, protects local control, and prioritizes blighted and brownfields over productive green farmland. We need to make sure that we are not selling out the people. Also, what I'm hearing is affordability is caused by the Democrats is really hurting folks. We're going to make sure that we lower your healthcare costs by increasing transparency and holding the drug sick care cartels accountable. We're going to be pulling back harmful regulations, which make it impossible to get new and cheaper housing online. We're also going to be lowering your energy rates because these Green New Deal policies from Gretchen Whitmer have caused DTE and Consumers Energy to go back to MPSC for 2 rate increases in the past 6 months. These are things that are hurting Michiganders, and communism is not just at our doorstep. Communism is inside the house. Right now, those policies, which have never worked in human history, are being experimented on by the Whitmer administration, Abdul El-Sayed, and the entire Democrat Party. We don't have to look to Russia and China for where these have failed. We just have to look outside Michigan, where they have tried these policies and they are failing. We are losing population. We are losing our children, and we need to turn that around. Also, education is a huge, huge deal, and making sure that we're driving accountability and that we're focusing on things like phonics. We are protecting homeschooling and private and charter schooling, school choice, and giving parents a choice, and focusing more on academics than activism. Those are the key things. So again, it's energy, healthcare, housing, and education. Those are the things that really drive the affordability train, really focusing on things that work and giving the power back to the people.
I got to ask you, and I think this is the first time you and I have talked since the big endorsement from the president, and being well received. You've seen the polling move and things like that as well since this endorsement was announced. That's got to feel pretty good, I would imagine.
Yeah, the president's a friend. He's been a friend for almost a decade. He's had my back and I've had his, and I'm so proud to have the president's endorsement. And right now, what we're doing is we're going all around the state because I really want to earn yours. If you'd like to learn more, please go to johnjamesmi.com or follow us on the socials at johnjamesmi. But again, the president has done everything he can to make America great again, and we need to come together to make Michigan great again. We need to reindustrialize. We need to get a government that's fair, efficient, and limited so it respects your rights so that we can get back to building and growing and enjoying Michigan again. These are the things that the president understands, and working with the president, I've already delivered. We've already pushed back on the Biden era EV and vehicle mandates when he signed my bill last year into law, protecting our automotive industry. If we hadn't done that, it might have been illegal to drive an internal combustion engine vehicle in the next few years. The president has also been working with us to deliver a fighter mission back to Michigan. And I've gotten almost $300 million back to the state so that we can once again be a defense hub. We have much more to go, but being endorsed by the president is a distinct honor, and I'm looking forward to earning your support on or before August 4th.
Where can folks find you, either out obviously on the campaign trail or online? Best way for them to do that? I know you just mentioned johnjamesmi.com, but what else would you tell them?
Yeah, again, johnjamesmi.com. I'm the only one the president has endorsed in this race because he sees that we're out there working hard. We're going to be in northern Michigan, central Michigan, the Bay Area, just in the next few days, and we're continuing to do both things. I'm helping the president fight to keep America great in Washington, D.C., supporting his agenda in Congress. And I'm also coming back to the state to listen to you because we have a fight on our hands in the general. We need to make sure that we're fighting together to push back on the Democrat socialists who want to fundamentally tear our republic apart. And we need to make sure we fight together so we can have a better and brighter future for our children.
I think I saw you with Uncle Ted the other day too, as you're making the rounds around the state. Here's another endorsement that doesn't hurt, huh?
Yeah, Uncle Ted was great. He had me on stage in Sterling Heights at one of his concerts, and then in Paw Paw, Michigan, we had a great time with Uncle Ted. He is a true patriot, poet, and a prophet, and he has been saying exactly what happens when his people are disobedient, and we are straying away from the path. We need to get back on the path and recognize that Constitution, Christian, conservationist lovers of the state of Michigan, we need to stand up. Nothing is going to happen if true conservatives don't kneel and pray and then stand and fight. We are fighting not just for our state right now, but for our republic and for our children. And if you don't get fired up about that, if we can't get behind the only one who's shown to win, who has the president's endorsement, who's capable of winning in Southeast Michigan and around the state, then frankly, we are going to have a tough road to hoe. But I'm excited for the energy that I'm feeling around the state of Michigan, and I'm honored for the opportunity to serve you.
There it is. John James, representative in Southeast Michigan, running for governor here in the great state of Michigan. johnjamesmi.com. And in just days now until that primary vote takes place. People already voting right now as we speak, absentee. We appreciate you taking the time, and welcome back anytime, my friend. Thank you.
Anytime, brother. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You got it. John James, johnjamesmi.com, as the conversations continue. And man, oh man, like I said, things are heating up. We got lots to do today. We got lots to talk about. Glad we could fit it in and have these conversations with you. Listen, coming up, Patrick Colbeck, again, he's been in the fight, election integrity. You just heard the congressman talking about what's coming again tomorrow with the president's address to the country. I believe it's 9 p.m. tomorrow night. From everything we're hearing, in fact, the president talking about this too. From everything we're hearing, it's going to be an election integrity conversation. I think there might be a few other things pieced in there as well. He's been hinting about that. So we're going to hear a little bit more about that conversation. Patrick's going to talk to us. I got to tell you this because I got the text message yesterday. And he said, here he is actually again. Let me see. This is what he said. He goes, the POTUS address will be epic. So again, I was like, I had to call him. I picked up the phone. Holy smokes. What's this about? Give me the scoop on it. Here's the president in the, I think this is yesterday in the Oval. Again, laying it down, the really big news that's coming, election integrity. Patrick will talk to us about that coming up at 10 this morning.
Machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience?
I'd rather save it. It will concern that subject. We'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch, though?
But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news.
It's really, really big news. And then you know it's gonna be, obviously know it's gonna be big. Obviously, that's election, but there's speculation on what is going to be announced. There's a whole question, and I've been watching this too. There's a whole question on what they found. There's this like trove of documents and declassified this, that, and the other thing that they believe may be talked about, and they actually may go through some of that about the 2020 election, but not just 2020. Maybe a few others that they've got in mind as well, and I've even heard speculation about this latest election in LA, and I know Spencer Pratt I think spent some time visiting in DC and maybe at the White House as well. I think I heard that. So there, again, questions on what exactly going to be brought up. Patrick Colbeck is going to lay out, I think what he sees is the biggest on the list of possibilities and some of the latest. Now, if you only been following along with this, we know that Dominion lawsuit with our good friend Mike Lindell has also been resolved. So when you look at the timing on these things, it certainly begs the question of what is coming. And I think he says big, he says massive announcement. I think it's set for it. All right, taking a quick break. Back with more after the latest updates from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news around the state and beyond.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, July 15th. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. New news about Governor Whitmer's legacy. Michigan's population continuing to trend older in 2025, with the percentage of minors increasing in only 4 counties here since 2020. In other news, Michigan Senator Democrat Alyssa Slotkin admits the Save America Act would make it hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election. The senator claims requiring ID to vote would literally allow this administration to rig our democracy. Here she is in her own words.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was literally allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
And more from the president in the Oval yesterday on the big announcement. He had a few more little bombs to drop. Very, very interesting. And again, like I said, I don't know exactly what to expect on that. I don't know exactly what to expect. I've seen lots of different speculation on it. And again, I think we're in for some. Now, I saw somebody ask the next question, by the way. And I think it's a good one. I'm just to let you know, I was planning on being off Friday. I kind of told some of the folks in the VIP about this. My birthday's Friday, and I've got family coming into town. And I kind of thought, okay, I'll take Friday off, spend time with family, and really just kind of enjoy a little bit of that, time just to kind of relax and kick back, so to speak. Right? Spend time with family. We got some big things coming, and I've been talking to you about that since. And if you're new to this and you don't know, but we had the radio program went away, 9 to 10 on Wood Radio went away. It's been a couple of weeks back now. And at that moment, I told you that something big was coming. Something massive was on the way. And I said, just wait. I can't say it yet. I'm still not allowed to tell you exactly what it is. Not my announcement to make. I'll have to wait until it's fully announced. But when that does happen, I'll be able to kind of run it all out for you. But this was a question that somebody said: Will you do a like a live show when they do the announcement? Will you do a live? I don't know about Thursday night, but I have thought about possibly coming back on Friday to do the show, or maybe a smaller version just to address whatever it is, depending upon what it is at the moment that he does announce. So I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. Here's what I will tell you. In the meantime, if you haven't done it, to make sure that you get the news first and you get to hear my announcement and everything else that we pass through to you, because we know why. We know why some of these things we just you social media. Some of these, let's be honest, I've been telling you since 2020, they're trying to silence conservative voices. We've built the lifeboats. Some of you are on the email list and you're getting the emails. Make sure you continue to sign up at justinbarclay.com. If you haven't done that, go there now, sign up, justinbarclay.com, and just click in where it says get the good news or the stack, either one. And that way you can stay in touch and we can continue to have the conversations that matter most, no matter what happens. But I do think, in the meantime, you are going to be very pleased with the changes and the good news that is coming. Because we got, like I said, we got some really good things. I'm not at liberty to completely share all of it yet. But in the meantime, our 9 to 10:30, sometimes a little bit later, our broadcast continues here. And you'll get all of that and then some as we continue our conversations. All right, I wanted to show you this. This is what some of the speculation is about Thursday night, and then I'll give you some other things that are out there too. Clandestine shared this the other day, and in MSDNC 13 already getting ahead of it. Trump to claim declassified intel reveals 2020 election interference. Now the reason why, and I got to pull this up, but Colbeck did a great job on this the other day. He calls it pre-bunking. Getting ahead of the announcement with their debunk or their fake news scam of it all. Because they know what's coming is probably going to be pretty massive. Clandestine says the MSM mainstream media are already reporting that Trump's address to the nation on Thursday is about foreign influence. Hear that, folks. Foreign influence in the 2020 election. If that's the case, what does that do? Does that have retroactive impact on the previous elections? Does that have any impact moving forward? What happens moving forward? Is it related to the Fulton County raid? What's happened down in Georgia? I've heard people comment that it may impact a couple of senators serving now down in Georgia. Does that impact some of the other elections? Maybe some throughout the country, and then Michigan, and then all these other states. L.A. Trump will be joined by Radcliffe of the CIA, they say, Kash Patel, the FBI, Pulte from the DNI, Mullen of the DHS, and they're reportedly going to reveal a foreign nation's plan to interfere in the 2020 elections. Now, that's what find out what Colbeck says on this, because, again, this is a massive story, the likes of which, again, you're just, I think, only beginning to see the surface really scratched on the top. It's just barely beginning. We got another inflation report number. Experts are shocked yet again. U.S. wholesale inflation dropped 0.3% in June, defying expectations yet again, and a victory for President Trump. He called it. Inflation is going down. It'll continue to go down, especially if you look at the fuel, energy costs as well. Once they get this Iran thing completely ironed out, looks like that's going to happen. Let's see what they say on CNBC. Hang on, I think we got to reset this real quick. Stand by. It's the CPI. Is that what they're looking at? All right, let's pull him back up. Here he is. Important breaking news this morning is what he says.
Important breaking news this morning. The cousin, the CPI, the wholesale side producer price index for the month of June, hitting the wire's headline number -0.3%. That is 0.3 lower than the unchanged expectations in the rearview mirror. Significant revisions along the line. This one from 1.1 to down to 0.6. And why is that significant? Because 1.1 was basically a 4-year high.
Yeah, we got big drop yesterday too. And again, all of this trending in the right direction, that goes into the affordability conversation. That'll play a big role in the election. Lots of people talking about that right now too. And various other pieces of this conversation that are continuing. I forgot about this. This is what we named the show today, and I didn't have it in the big three because there's just so much going on, but there was a big ICE. I don't know if you saw the ICE announcement, but President Trump, after Markway Mullen, DHS secretary, suspended these traffic stops, decided to open them back up. They've been reinstated, and he said in the latest report, we cannot give up one of ICE's most important and effective crime fighting tools, the traffic stop, he said. Can't do it. Got to make sure that we've got all the ability to do everything that we want to do, whatever it might be, whatever we need to do. We cannot handcuff, so to speak, the folks that are working on this, DHS and ICE specifically. Here is part of that announcement on True Social. The men and women of ICE are doing a great job, one that has to be done. Crime is way down in America in many cases, with numbers that haven't been seen in decades. The open border policy of sleepy Joe Biden allowed 25 million people to pour into our country unchecked and unvetted. Many were criminals, and we have to get them out. In order to do this, we must be strong, tough, and smart, and we cannot give up one of ICE's most important, most effective crime-fighting tools, the traffic stop. Once we do, we're playing right into the criminals' hands. The radical left Democrats, he calls them Democrats, Democrats, would like to see this done, but it won't happen on my watch. ICE, be judicious, fair, and smart, and go back and do your very important job. Keep those crime stat records coming. Remember, you are loved and respected in America. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Decisions made by the Secretary along with leadership at ICE. But look, it's not a policy change. It's a temporary pause. Look, we had the last couple of shootings, ICE leadership along with DHS believes they want to look at these last couple of incidents and look, is there something that could have been done better? Is there any training that can be improved? Or it's simply ICE doing their job and and bad things happen when people don't comply with law enforcement officers. So I think it's going to be a short pause, and I'm confident that ICE is well trained in vehicle stops, and you're going to see us keep moving forward. But this is just a temporary pause where they look at the incidents. But let me say this too: I hear a lot of noise right now. This is going to affect ICE arrests, and it's not going to. Look, I've done this for a long time. You can when that alien leaves his home before he gets into the car, you can arrest him then. You can wait till the vehicle gets to the destination and arrest him then. Every case is different. Now, we know vehicle assaults are up over 3,400%. So if we can arrest that alien outside that vehicle and take that 2-ton weapon away from them, that's good in some instances. Other instances, we're going to still need to do vehicle stops or a significant criminal. You may want to stop him in a desolate area before he gets downtown. You certainly don't want to stop a criminal alien near a school.
Yeah, I think Tom Holman has always been, first of all, kind of like, I just kind of look at Tom Holman as being like a bulldog. I mean, this guy is incredible. Every time you see him, he's out there. And I think sort of like a common sense approach, as he just mentioned, the pause that they just did, and now the president has said we're moving forward on the pause they just did, seemed like a common sense. Let's just make sure that everything's working correctly. They did. Now they figured out next steps, and here they are moving forward with it. By the way, speaking of this insane Democrat leftist policy, defund the police. This is what it gets you. In Portland right now, and the same with handcuffing ICE, etc. In Portland right now, they don't have the staff to handle emergency 911 calls. It's taking them over 40 minutes to respond.
Well, this is another event we've reported on where bystander intervention has prevented what could have been a much more serious crime. And today police are saying that it shouldn't come down to heroic actions by citizens.
We don't have the appropriate amount of police officers to handle the amount of demand for police services.
This statement from Portland police has been made evident the past several days. On Saturday, it took officers an estimated 30 to 40 minutes to respond to a dozen 911 calls reporting a naked man harassing people in Waterfront Park. This escalated to an alleged attempt to grab a 7-year-old girl out of her parents' arms. The Bureau says its officers were tied up with a barricaded suspect a mile away.
They're resource intensive, and so when you have a draw like that, it really puts a drain on the entire city, not just that precinct.
But this wasn't an isolated incident. Earlier this month, a group of women held back an alleged attacker for 40 minutes until help arrived. And on Monday morning, a Fox 12 crew was threatened with a knife at the waterfront. It took police 10 minutes to intervene.
Unless it's an on-call group of officers like the SWAT team or the traffic team, there's no additional officers that I can just bring in at a moment's notice.
Deputy Chief Brian Hughes says PPP was operating at a 24% staffing reduction, with 41 officers stationed across the city and 10 pulling overtime. He says tactical calls like the domestic violence threat in Old Town require additional staff in case the suspect gets away or fires a weapon. With 70 vacancies, more than $20 million in recent budget cuts, and an increase in complex calls since 2020, Hughes says patrol staff is stretched too thin to.
Can you imagine? Who could have ever seen this coming? Who could have ever predicted that this was going to happen? Did you hear that? Budget cuts? Did you know how much they cut? That's incredible. That is incredible. And calls have gone up. So they've cut budgets. Calls have gone up. Oh, that's kind of shocking too. I wonder why.
Respond right away.
It's just triaging calls as they come in on the street, as opposed to having enough officers to handle each call as they came in.
On Saturday, officers arrested the naked suspect, Daniel Vassie, after he waded into the river.
Look at that freak. I mean, let's be honest here. This is each one of these scenarios, you got another person that's just completely off their rocker. There's no help for mental health. In fact, it's getting worse and worse. And can you imagine? I mean, time when it's been, I can't. Not only that, but you gotta full on realize that what we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So we're dealing with a spiritual thing here too, that people just they can't grasp.
Only after police say he was pepper sprayed by a bystander. Vassie had already been arrested that very day in Gresham for reportedly trespassing at Legacy Mount Hood Hospital. According to court documents, he assaulted a hospital security guard, was pepper sprayed, booked and released, and was arrested again at the park 2 hours later.
Yeah, just this is every single time the same story. Arrested, released, arrested again just a couple hours later for something worse.
I asked what can be done to ensure community safety with the Bureau's current staffing levels and budget. Police say it comes down to, quote, city values.
Those are some very heroic things that have been done across our city. I can tell you that I would prefer that we have a police department that is able to respond in a timely fashion and handle those things appropriately.
Vassie is being held without bail. Live from downtown, Julia Lopez, Fox 12 Oregon.
You would think that at some point in these crazy liberal, you'd think in the blue states, the cities, you would think they would at some point wake up and go, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. I don't know. You know, it happened right here in Grand Rapids too. In fact, they had to come out the other day. This story is nuts. But the prosecutor in Kent County had to come out and decline to charge a Grand Rapids police officer who shot a man who was on parole for beating a woman to death. And at the same time, he's out there. I think there was a knife. He tried to flee at some point. It's just an incredible story.
Appreciate everyone coming out here today to talk about my decision in the officer-involved shooting from May 30th of this year with Grand Rapids Police. Eddie Deans Jr. Was killed by Officer Ben Howie. I will not be filing any charges in this incident. I know there's been a lot of video that's been out there already, but I think that's probably the best way to explain my decision. And you can kind of see, he kind of sticks his head out there underneath the carport. Okay?
That's the Molotov cocktail, by the way. I know it's hard to see it, and he doesn't say it here, but do you see this flaming object? The guy, if you're telling me a cop cannot shoot a man who is racing towards him with a flaming Molotov cocktail and throws it at the car, you see it in slow motion here, then where the heck are we? Where the heck are we? What are these people supposed to be able to? This is an obvious case, another obvious case. And I think to myself, this is the problem we're in right now because the media, the Democrats, but I repeat myself, the leftists, they have over and over and over and over and over again marched this whole thing down for Americans to be divided with each other. And every time there's a conversation, it always comes back to, well, the cop must have been wrong. How? Unbelievable.
It's really hard to see. It happened so quickly, but you can hear clearly his handler saying he was been stabbed and got him out of there. So you can play this.
The dog was stabbed.
Stop the dog!
Appreciate everyone coming out.
You know, you hate that this has to happen. You absolutely hate that this has to happen. But the reason it's happening is because that guy is dead today because he wasn't locked up in the first place. They let these people out. They go out, they commit new crimes, and then they end up dead or worse off, killing someone else. It is insane. And I just want to walk people through this. In fact, we had to have a press conference. There had to be a whole conversation about this. When there's a guy that runs up on a cop with a Molotov cocktail and stabs a police canine, folks, we have gone completely off the reservation. And I don't know if there's any coming back from this. Again, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. This is an answer. This solution to these problems is an answer that most will not want to hear, in politics at least. Certainly a culture. Although things have changed, there are some good things happening. We'll talk about that. In fact, a big announcement coming up from the president in just moments. Our good friend Patrick Kolbeck joining us after this latest from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, July 15th. I'm Robin Hoffman. We begin with politics as Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed campaigns on Medicare for all while his psychiatrist wife declines all insurance plans. She requires her patients to pay out of pocket for all of the services they receive from her. Michigan Senator Democrat Alyssa Slotkin admits President Trump's Save America Act, which requires ID to vote, would make it hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was to allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election and disenfranchise all married women in the meantime, by the way. And just, you have to show your birth certificate at the polls if you have a married name.
Now, Utah Senator Republican Mike Lee calling Slotkin's argument absurd. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
That's the latest, and of course, more craziness. There she is. She's got her eye on it, folks. There she is, Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State. Speaking of having eyes on it, the Department of Justice, President Trump have eyes on her, and they have eyes on the state of Michigan and more. When it comes to the election conversation, we've got a doozy for you. Our good friend Pat Kolbeck, who's been watching all of this from the very beginning, joining us now with the latest. And President Trump's big announcement coming Thursday. Pat, welcome in, former senator, state senator here in Michigan, and I call him election integrity warrior, fighting for truth, logic, and common sense. Thank you, brother.
It's always good to see you, Justin. Yeah, Thursday night's going to be a big night. I think we've had some drip regarding elections pretty much since day one of President Trump's second administration, but I think the faucet is going to be fully opened up tomorrow night, and the media is already trying to pre-bunk it, if you will. They've already got their stories written on what he's going to be talking about. But I'm here to tell you, I'm pretty confident the president's going to open it all up, show the American people everything that we've got so far on the topic of 2020 election fraud, and let the people go off and decide instead of being told what to think about it from the media. And the media, remember, they were all invested in the false narrative that says the 2020 election was the most secure election in American history. And even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, we had Kristen Welker on Meet the Press get combative with the president, saying there is no evidence of election fraud. And yes. So I think this is the case where the president's going to say, oh, yeah, here you go.
Here's the evidence. In fact, they've had this all along, and now, as you say, then they just roll all this out. I wanted to give folks we played this the other day, but I want to give them a little bit of a reminder of what this looks like. This is MS-DNC 13. MS Now is what they're calling it. This is the laying the groundwork without even knowing exactly what he's going to say, without he says anything at all.
Yeah.
Them laying the groundwork just like they do. They'll nothing to see here.
It appears the president is entering a new chapter in his effort to question the results of the 2020 election and potentially sow doubt in the upcoming midterms. A new White House task force is expected to begin releasing documents on alleged and so far absolutely baseless evidence of election irregularities in the coming weeks. That is according to two officials with knowledge of the matter. An acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, will be a part of it. I'm going to guess front and center. Joining the group chat, MS Now senior national security reporter David Rode. What do we need to know, David?
So your summary was perfect as always, but it's very concerning. This is, I think, the first of a bunch of efforts we're going to see between now and the midterm elections to sow doubt. And all this is unprecedented. So this task force in the White House is going through thousands of pages of classified documents from the CIA, the NSA, and looking for election irregularities. The president himself can declassify it, and they can cherry pick examples, that may be playing to the president's conspiracy theories.
So now providing evidence, just so you know, folks, because this is where we're going. They've said, and without evidence, that they have said without evidence, by the way, that you can't prove this double negative, but they have said there's no evidence. Now, when he provides the evidence, they are going to say that he's cherry picking. Now, this is providing evidence is cherry picking. I guess, when you break the law and the cops bust you and they bring the evidence to court, that's what I'll use next time if I ever get busted, Patrick. I'll say, oh, you're just cherry picking now. What? Isn't that what we do when we provide evidence? You're starting to see the groundwork they're laying for this, though.
And they should be experts on cherry picking, because that's what happens in their newsrooms every single day.
Yeah.
They're cherry picking what information they share and how they position what they share. And I liken it to Mad Libs. You probably filled out a few Mad Libs in your days, and I think it's kind of ironic that it's Mad Libs that are actually pushing this type of approach to journalism. But anyway, they've already got the story on Thursday night written before he said one word, and now they're just looking for a couple of nouns and adjectives to throw into the story so that they can say that they watched the address. And so this is very transparent. Everybody needs to understand from the beginning on this whole thing. I wrote about it in my book. I said this is part of a psyop.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal right now is to make sure that nobody understands how compromised our election systems really are and how they were actually compromised in 2020.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out to everybody, this isn't about going off and redoing the 2020 election. It's not about going off and telling everybody that Trump should have been the president during that time frame, although that, from my perspective, is the case. It's about making sure that our future elections are secure. And one of the ways to make sure that they're secure is to make sure that anybody who broke the law in 2020 to actually steal the election, they need to be held accountable. And if there are foreign adversaries involved, they need to be held accountable. And if there were people inside the United States that assisted them domestically, they need to be held accountable for treason.
Yes.
So this is big stakes. That's why they're going off and trying to pre-bunk it. But I'll tell you, just follow my social media feeds and go to electioncrimebureau.com. Then false narrative that there is no evidence of election fraud is just that. It's false. There's plenty of evidence. And the key is you kind of got to open your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Pat posted this earlier today. This is a little bit of a look at those bad libs.
A mainstream news outlet completely debunked President Trump's major election integrity address exactly 13 minutes before he even started speaking. On one side, you have Trump standing at a podium presenting complex intelligence charts. On the other, a hyper-liberal reporter in a cluttered newsroom, staring at a finished draft. When the president details a foreign operation to mass-produce fake IDs for mail-in ballots, the reporter doesn't even listen. They casually click a drop-down menu and select the word faceless to fill in the blank. Trump then escalates, presenting physical evidence of seized voting machines with foreign cellular modems. But the reporter isn't even typing. They are just comparing their screen to a completely pre-printed, already stapled hard copy of the exact same article.
Baseless, dangerous. That was beautiful.
Trump concludes his address with a serious plea for transparency. The reporter simply selects theatrical for their final mocking adjective and hits save. But here is the ultimate proof that journalism is dead. The reporter's phone buzzes. The story was submitted at 9:47 a.m. The address didn't even start until 10 o'clock. The instantaneous fact-checking wasn't a reaction to the evidence. It was a pre-written narrative just waiting for fill-in-the-blank adjectives.
This is exactly what they do, too. I mean, and they get marching orders. People don't know this, but there are conference calls. Let's talk about that behind the scenes. Let's pull the curtain back, show you how the sausage is made. But, Pat, this is what they do every day. There's a call. Yep. And so these people get their marching orders. They get their talking points, all of that. Every single day.
Yeah, that video you just showed was satire, obviously.
Right.
But I've actually experienced that when I was in politics. I was at events, and I'd be seeing press stories about the event before the event was even over. And they were talking about stuff that I swear sometimes I was wondering if they were even at the same event that I was at. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this happens all the time. And it shows the power of information. And When I started off on this election integrity investigative journey back in 2020, my focus was on the brass tacks of the voting machines and flipping votes and ballots and the voter registration, all the kind of mechanics of voting. But what became very clear very quickly was that something even more powerful than that, that could sway even more votes, that could actually hide the disclosure of election fraud, was the media's control over information. And so that's why I love what the president's doing. He's going directly to the American people. They're going to do their best to cut them out of that. But this is kind of par for the course. It's not just happening on election integrity. It's happening on a lot of different issues. And people need to understand there's something in the military called an influence operation, PSYOP, if you will. Probably heard that term before. They actually do run this at mass, not just here in America with domestic bad actors, like members of our intel community, for example, but also foreign bad actors, such as China and Iran. Actually had a APT team. They call it an advanced persistent team. It's kind of like a professional hacker team for a state-based hacker team. They actually got busted for doing that in an earlier election, trying to influence our election. So people need to understand, when we talk about bots on social media, that's a real thing, and it's actually designed to actually shape your public opinion. And if you've ever heard of a guy by the name of Dr. Robert Epstein and some of his testimony before Congress, this guy's a liberal.
He's liberal,
Yeah. But he highlights you can shift as much as 30% of the vote using information, just simple things like search queries on Google. Yeah, and so this is real. I mean, it's essentially.
And by the way, that information is nothing new, folks. They've been doing that for a decade or more now.
Yeah, it's marketing weaponized from a political perspective is what it comes down to, and so it's very difficult to go off and isolate sometimes, because it really is how do you separate a campaign ad from a candidate from a deliberate subversion of the United States by the Chinese government? It's sometimes, especially when you're looking at Democrat ads, it's very difficult to discern between the two of them.
Yeah. What do you Pat Colbeck with us right now, electioncrimebureau.com. What do you think we're going? You said we have to see, accountability. We have to see arrest. We have to see these things. Do you think we will see that? And maybe, is that what part of the announcement is?
Well, I think this is going to be a series of releases. That part I agree with that pundit that was on that MS Now broadcast or whatever. I think there is going to be a series of releases. And the first one, I think the objective of this first address is to debunk the false narrative that says that there is no evidence of election interference. If the president accomplishes that alone, he's already taken away most of their ammunition right there. And I think the key area that he is probably going to focus in on, if I had to guess based on previous announcements, is that you remember John Solomon came out a few weeks back talking about documents that he was provided by Tulsi Gabbard, who was the director of national intelligence at the time. The documents prove that the Chinese and Venezuelan governments interfered in the 2020 election. And in particular, he was focused on access to voter registration systems, which, by the way, in Michigan, that is connected to our voter history data. So you can change who voted, who who didn't vote, all that kind of stuff with that access. It's not just a matter of who's registered to vote. You are plugged into the whole system. By the way, those systems are also, by contract in Michigan, connected to our tabulators and our vote tallying machines. So I think the president's going to address specifically what John Solomon was looking at. If you were like me, I was waiting for him to post that up on the Just News website. I was waiting for Odie and I to put it up on their website. That never happened. Those documents went to the Inspector General for the intelligence community, Chris Fox. And when that happened, I go, well, that could be one of two things. Number one, they sent it to him to bury it. Or number two, they sent it to him to prepare criminal indictments and criminal referrals. And I think what we're going to see evidence of on Thursday is the start of the option number 2. I think we're finally going to get that accountability train rolling out of the train station. And I think Amos 524 is going to be rolling off the lips of many of us who've been investigating this election integrity for so long. And that justice, like a mighty river, is going to be flowing soon. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
There you go. Always a pleasure, my friend. Maybe, again, I'm supposed to be off Friday. Depending on how big the news is, I may have to come back. Maybe you can come back and break it all down for us if I decide to do that. But in the meantime, stick with him. PJ Colbeck over on X, where all of this information comes out, electioncrimebureau.com. Any other places that you want folks to keep up to date with you, Pat?
That's the best place to do it. electioncrimebureau.com and up on X. I mean, I'm literally right now in the middle of doing my own debunk of the there is no evidence by posting one finding every hour. I started a few weeks back, and it's going to go on through mid-August. And we have that much evidence of election fraud. They can't hide from it this time, and it's all going to be disclosed by the president on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, and I know you agree, but Americans, and I say the same thing all the time. If we don't have accountability, all talk, no action is just going to leave people more demoralized. We have to have action in this case, and I'm hoping that we're going to see that Thursday night, and we'll be here with more of the updates for you through it all. Thank you, my friend.
One other quick announcement. President Trump just endorsed my friend, your friend, Mike Lindell, for his governor race this morning.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know that.
Big news.
Man.
Yeah, it came out, and the way it happened, I mean, I don't want to reveal too much of inside baseball with Mike, but suffice to say, it was obvious that the Lord was at work in this endorsement. So it was very encouraging.
President Trump endorsing Mike Lindell, and here it is, Mike Lindell, the Pillow Man. This is really cool. Okay, let me blow this up so people can actually see it. We'll put it on the screen real quick for you. Mike Lindell, the Pillow Man, and one of America's greatest and most hardworking patriots, is running to be governor of Minnesota, replacing one of the worst and most incompetent governors in the history of the USA. Well, that's true. Early primary voting has begun, and if given the chance, Mike will be spectacular. 3 exclamation points there. He truly loves Minnesota, as do I, and wants to bring it back from oblivion and embarrassment, and he can do it. Nobody has sacrificed more than Mike Lindell in fighting for our country, especially when it comes to election integrity. He truly deserves everything he gets. He will make Minnesota great again, all caps, 3 exclamation points. Mike Lindell has my complete and total endorsement. He will not let you down, all caps. And then good luck, Mike, President Donald J. Trump. That's very cool. We appreciate your attention to this matter as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Mike appreciates it, and the people in Minnesota are going to appreciate it too. Mike really is. He's got a servant's heart, and he will not stop until the people in Minnesota are provided with the best services possible.
Yeah, we'll give Mike our best. Always appreciate you guys, and keep up the fight.
All right, thank you, my friend. God bless, and have a great day.
You too. Well, there we go, folks. We'll find out more when it comes to Thursday's announcement. In the meantime, hey, if you want to support Mike in the fight, great time to do it right now. MyPillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. You can help obviously get great gear. There's all kinds of big discounts on some of the best stuff. The pillows are amazing, the sheets. They've got dog beds now. Mattresses 50% off in the My Coffee as well. All of the good stuff that you're going to love. And again, support Mike and this program too while you're at it at mypillow.com, mystore.com/Justin. Great way to do it. And join in the fight. Obviously, Mike could use your help, and so could we as things continue to heat up. Speaking of heating up, we got a couple of major health-related things that we want to talk about. Our good friend Maha Missy here with us to break down some of the biggest Maha news this week. Explosive diarrhea, wildfires, and daylight savings time. Oh my! Just a couple of the stories we're looking at and working on right now with our good friend Maha Missy, who joins us Maha Missy in the program as well. Thank you so much for being here with us. Wow, what a day, huh? Whoa.
Boy, I tell you what, the wildfires, I already closed up my windows and everything else like that. Good old Canada, right?
Unbelievable. And you can't, like, I thought we were going to get through this summer. I thought we were finally going to have our first one. No wildfire issues, no problems. No, that's not the case. And unfortunately, here we are, right smack dab in the middle of it. And we've got a doozy. We'll talk about that coming up in a second. We have some updates for folks that are wanting to know, how do you fight this parasite, the explosive diarrhea parasite now that is causing issues for people. We're going to get into that. And Missy's brought some updates for you there as promised from last week. So we'll talk about those things and daylight savings time too.
I got something really good about daylight savings time that I think is going to cause people to see things a little bit differently, and how this will be a really good thing for our body.
Interesting. We'll take a listen to that after this.
The number of confirmed cases of a parasitic intestinal stomach bug continues to spread across the country, and now we do have confirmed cases right here in California. The CDC is saying at least 31 states are reporting cases of cyclosporiasis, an infection that causes severe gastrointestinal issues. New York, Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan have all been hit the hardest. Detroit alone has more than 1,200 cases. Doctors say it is spread by eating contaminated food or water, but unlike a stomach bug that may last 24 to 48 hours, people are reporting stomach illnesses that last for more than a week.
We talked about this last week. The latest news I saw was Michigan is like ground zero for this, Southeast Michigan specifically. And now there are reports and questions about Taco Bell being ground zero for the investigation on this. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know that this is news. I've always thought Taco Bell was ground zero for explosive diarrhea.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. Yeah.
Maybe now we know why.
Fire in the hole, right? Fire in the hole.
When they talk about making a run for the border, they're talking about the runs, folks. This is what you got to look out for. Last week it was Montezuma's revenge. This week it's actual Taco Bell that you gotta look out for.
Yeah, I remember last week when we were talking, it was green onions, raspberries, leafy vegetables, lettuce. And all I know is over the weekend when I was at, my dad's birthday party, and someone brought raspberries and someone diced up green onions to put on top of the potato salad. I was like, I think I'll pass. I'm not sure. So yeah. So here we are, Taco Bell. But yeah, it's this little parasite's making its way through across many people's bellies. So I'm glad that I was able to kind of get some graphic slides together to share with our listeners on how to be able to be prepped and ready. And so that way, if you ever encountered one of those little guys, this is going to keep passing on through because your body's going to reject it. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Me now?
I can hear you now.
In the system. That's probably the biggest takeaway for all of this. And I heard you say this last week, and maybe it's good to bring it back up. But the explosive diarrhea, and some of that is the natural way the body. Now you don't want it, but at the same time, you don't want those parasites to stay. So one of those things is the natural way that your body deals and fights these things off. So, how can you go through that? Just like you might go through like a detox or even a parasite cleanse, which we'll talk about here in a second as well. But how can you go through some of those things in a more gentle way? And what are the things that you can do to fight that off? Because you just mentioned, last week, it was very simple. You may want to avoid these. And I think may still be something that you look at. We've kind of stayed away from some of those. And cooking, it doesn't mean you can't have vegetables, but you may want to cook. Those are good things to do. Now you've got a parasite protocol you're going to share with us today that looks like it's been pretty helpful for folks, and it's something that you recommend as well.
Oh, absolutely. And again, you said something, when your body is rejecting something, whether you're throwing it up or it's going out in the toilet, we've learned to run to the Walgreens and pick up something to either stop it from coming up or cork it from coming out. And so it just keeps recycling through the body. And obviously, you don't want that for a long time, but at the same time, it's good to let nature run its course and just hydrate like crazy in the process, because you've got to let it out, but you don't also want to become massively dehydrated either at the same time.
So walk us through what we're looking at on the screen here, the parasite
Oh
protocol guide
yeah.
here.
So what it is that the first one? Yeah. So part one, yeah, cleanse. So what we want to do, I'm going to give you a website to go to because our little AI helper does not let me have certain websites go up. So have people write down this word right now. It's a website that my chiropractor pointed me to years ago when COVID was in the phase we were in. It's called Gen Medicare, GenMedicare.com. And it feels like if anybody's been to Mexico and you go into a Mexican pharmacy, everything is like off label, white labeled, what do you want to call it? It's just generic. It feels like, and when you're in Mexico, you can get so many medications over the counter that America makes you pay for it through your insurance. So Gen Medicare, you can find multiple different doses, milligram doses of this ivermectin and a lot of other things over there too. Lots of antibiotics you can pick up on that website, and it's legit. But what it is that we want to do with to get this going, and then this would be to get it going for anyone people that have never done a parasite cleanse. You want to get it going, and then there's a maintenance program, so that way you never have to do the initial dosing again. So this right here, there's a life cycle with these parasites, and so when you take your you want to take your ivermectin along with something called zeolite. Zeolite, I mentioned some charcoal last week, and that's great, but zeolite is something they call it it's like a honeycomb. It like literally grabs it grabs onto it, pulls in the toxins, and it doesn't pull in any of the good stuff. So it's only attracting the bad stuff. So when you take your ivermectin, you're going to have die off. And that is where a lot of people that have used ivermectin over COVID days and didn't have a binder, zeolite is a binder. It like the parasites are dying. And when they die, they're not happy. They're releasing
Why is
so
that
many.
important? Yeah, because I mean, is this because if you don't do this, you could feel worse, isn't it? Isn't that what happens?
Yeah, it's called a Herxheimer reaction. It literally, when these parasites are dying off, they're releasing heavy metals, they're releasing toxins, and when they're dying, basically they're going out with a bang, literally, and they're releasing all these toxins in the air. I mean, and if you don't have a binder called zeolite, you're gonna feel like crap, and you're probably not gonna want to take the second dose the next day. So that's where, and in doing research for the program, there's two different types of zeolite. There is one that is like a spray or a liquid, and then there's a powder form. And you want to do both. I mean, they're not that expensive, and the bottles will last for a long time. But what happens is, I'm trying to figure out how to say this the best way. Let's just say the life cycle with your parasite. The parasite, you're going to automatically kill it, but it's not killing the eggs that are laying there, because the eggs are like turbo shells. Nothing impacts the egg. So you're killing the host, you're killing the actual thing that's not an egg anymore, the larva, and you're killing that off, and then it's leaving behind eggs. So this is why you want to take the dose the way that we have it set up there, give your body a break, and then you're going to want to redose again. So that way you're going to do right here where it says day 1 through 3, round 1. You're going to be taking your
put a full screen here for folks so you can actually make it easier for you to see this, and then you could take a screenshot of this if you want to online.
Yep. Because I have, I think, 3 slides all together. So basically what you're wanting to do, round 1 is a 3-day round. You're going to be targeting the live parasites, and then you want to give your body a break. day 4 through 17, don't do anything else. And then once again, day 18 through 20, you're going to repeat the very first phase. And then after that, you give it a break. And then you only have to start doing it like one time a month, like one day a month, and that's it.
Okay,
So
that was my question. Was so because a lot of people are taking this, they take ivermectin as a prophylactic. In fact, Dean was talking about this the other day in the chat with us. So they take this as a monthly protocol.
Yep, a monthly protocol, and I think there's a maintenance dose. It's just going to be doing it for one day on, and not in the initial phase. We're going to be doing it 3 days, and then take a break from day 4 through 17, and then go at it again day 18, 19, 20, another 3-day, because we're going to kill the host. And then on this next round, day 18 through 20, we're going to kill all the little eggs that just hatched.
Okay.
And kill those off. And then by the time the next month comes around, you only have to do ivermectin and the zeolite one day.
Yeah.
And you want to take, and this is also super important. You have to take the zeolite and the ivermectin 2 hours away from each other, because zeolite is so strong, it can actually grab the ivermectin and then not let it could handcuff your ivermectin. It will just undo what we're trying to do. So so in the morning, they say, you can, on an empty stomach, you can take your ivermectin, wait 2 hours, squirt the zeolite in your mouth, and then wait until later on in the afternoon and do the powder. And this is why the powder one is going to go after all of the parasites in the stomach. Okay, that's where a lot of them are living at. However, there are parasites all throughout the body. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you really dive into this. Like I think I mentioned last time, my girl, parasites were in her brain.
Wow.
And so that's where the powder form of zeolite won't go anywhere else besides the gut. So that's where the spray zeolite goes to all the other places. It will go through it'll find all the cracks in the body, so to speak, and get to those targeted areas that the powder can't get to. So very, very important. Don't be a hero and take your ivermectin and try to do this without having zeolite. You will be miserable, because I did that the first time around. It's god awful. It's horrible.
Folks want to know more about this. We'll put some of these slides up too.
Yeah.
And so you can, but we'll make sure you get enough time to get a screenshot, like on your phone, if you want to do that too. But this is, the Gen Medicare website. That's where you can get. We don't make any money on this. Just let you guys know, we don't have any stake in this.
I'm not an influencer like that. I don't know how these people do, but that's not me. Yeah. So it's and I did put up a screenshot, because I asked them, like, where are the two give me a couple. Again, I'm asking AI these days, and then I go through and I look at the sites that they recommend, and I'm giving them a thumbs up. So I wanted to get, because there are a few different places you can buy zeolite. So there are, just do your due diligence, get a liquid and get the powder. You need both to be able to do this and do it well, so you don't have a Taco Bell revenge situation problem on your belly, because it feels bad. I mean, it could be headache, it could be diarrhea, it'll be an awful stomach ache, nausea. I mean, it's not, you don't want that.
Yeah,
and again, here's your little life cycle right here.
This is what the life cycle of that parasite looks like. And for folks that are looking at this on the screen, egg to larva to adult, and it takes a little while for that all to mature.
Sure.
What's this full moon window? That's kind of interesting.
Oh, let's go after that one. So I don't know if anybody's ever paid attention and jotted down notes, like, when do you start feeling really crappy? Do you ever have like I'm a pattern watcher. So I'm a pattern watcher on myself. And when I didn't know I had Lyme's disease, I didn't know, I was undiagnosed for the first 4 years, not knowing what I had. But what I started to notice, I'm watching patterns, and I would start to feel like junk 3 days before the full moon. It was a bizarre thing. Well, what I learned, that is when, and then I eventually learned long time ago, that is when the parasites are out making babies. And that's when spirochetes, the lime gets out and they're making babies too. So
Really?
that's where, oh yeah. So, and I mean, it's a real, I mean, full moon sometimes makes people act crazy. It's parasites, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a rhythm. Our bodies are on a rhythm. There's a timing mechanism. I mean,
Wow.
it shows it. Yeah.
That is incredible. All right, so these are the approaches, and you again, you look at this. You're doing this. You do it monthly, is what I understand. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, just get it. I mean, the first, the first going through, it might be a little rough for some people. Depends on how,
Mhm.
I mean, how sick the inside is on the inside. I mean, most people can look great on the outside, but it's a whole different story of what's going on the inside
Yeah.
because most people don't think that they're eating anything with parasite. I mean, parasites are everywhere. If you got a dog, a cat, you live on a farm, it's in your food. I mean, it's in our water. Parasites they're airborne. They're everything. You can't get away from it. It is what it is. Part of life. So
And
that's
this is something that people have known throughout the years, and they've done different things to be ready for it, right?
sure. Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is old information. It's new information for a lot of people. And thank God, because if you go back, if when you look to the body and when people pass away and you have those people that are doing autopsies and you get the right people that actually talk, they'll tell you how the parasites that they see are just nuts. I mean, and
Mm.
it's not a one size fits all parasite. There are a lot of different kind of parasites, and you don't be surprised if you see something in the toilet that looks like an alien. It's a real thing. I mean, I've been getting colonic treatments for years because my digestive system was so bad and for so long that getting colonic treatments actually helped expedite the process.
Wow. Let me ask you, how much of the I mean, just going off of what we're looking at here, like
Mhm.
how much of the things that we're dealing with on a daily basis, the things that we see people getting, being sick with, how
Mhm.
much of it is related to or could be related to, like, just parasites?
Uh, a lot. A lot. I mean, that's where in COVID days when there were a lot of people that started using ivermectin
Mhm.
to not get COVID, a lot of those people had cancer. And by the time they were done trying to stay away from getting the COVID bug, they
Mhm.
were watching their diagnoses get reversed too. And the common denominator was ivermectin. It was killing the parasite. It was killing the host because these parasites are eating all of your good nutrition.
Yeah.
It eats the
So you're
good stuff.
so you're unhealthy because your body's not getting the nutrition, I'm assuming. You're
No.
unhealthy because of that. That lowers your immune system, your immunity, and you're
Mhm,
more susceptible to these other issues. Is that
mhm.
what I'm hearing you say?
Exactly, and for some people who, if you don't exercise and move, if you and
Mhm.
I'm not a big old I'm not a go to the gym kind of girl, but movement is a big thing. What I know is because I scan bodies all day long, it seems like, in my company, and I see parasites show up in the scans a lot of times along with other toxins, but what you find is in some of these people, their lymphatic system isn't working. That's the drain. That's all the drain ditches in your body. Your lymph system is supposed to lymph its way all the toxins out of it, and your body
Mhm.
will naturally remove it. If your lymph system is jammed up and clogged, um, you're just going to keep recycling all that stuff. So your immune system continues to go down because it's fighting all the bad guys. Your
Right.
detoxification pathways get blocked out. And so you just keep recycling all the junk. And that's where maybe we can talk about maybe next week why for $100 you can go online and buy vibrational platforms. These
Yeah,
vibrational platforms
we
are
got one.
phenomenal.
Mm.
Yes, that is going to oscillate. It goes up, down super fast. We discovered the Vibe platform when we invaded Russia years ago, and that's why vibration platforms are doing. It's like kill 80 birds with one stone kind of thing. But yeah, sickness and disease is directly correlated to parasites.
I just put the slides up for folks that were asking for it. I was able to put them up. If you go to the locals, justinbarkley.com/locals, you can find them. Be right at the top, pinned at the top, or you can just click the link that I put inside the chat for folks to be able to get that. All right. Ask any questions, anything you might have, any question you might have about any of these issues. And then I'll put the Gen Medicare
Yeah.
link in there as well. But any of these issues, feel free to drop them in the chat, ask us. Miss Hill, we'll hit these, but I also want to move on. And if we can't get to them all today, we'll make sure that we get to them coming up in the next segment, maybe next week when we talk about it. All right. I still want to do daylight savings time. That's coming up here in a second. But first, let's jump into the Canadian wildfire smoke. Again, it's not just. I don't want to look at it because that is, that's a big piece. I don't want it. It makes the sky, the blue skies. I missed last summer and the last couple of summers. You miss seeing that, right? You look up the blue skies, but we've heard about Bill Gates wants to block out the sun. We've heard about all of these people that have these crazy ideas. So it's not wild to think that this, why do we continue to let this happen? Well, Canada's letting it happen. Some people think, no, this is a God thing, lightning strike. They've allowed the forest to be at an unmanageable level. We're called as Christians to be good stewards, and we're called to take dominion, reign over all these things. I was just talking about this with my 5-year-old today. She's asking about animals and where does this animal come from? And she's got this book that it shows you all these different birds that are birds in our backyard. And it's so funny because this is our brain thing. She goes, see, these are the backyard birds from the Midwest. And she goes, oh, they're in our backyard. I said, well, they can be in your front yard too.
Yeah. So cute.
These birds are in our backyard. They're in our front yard. They're all over the Midwest. She's looking at, she sees a turkey vulture. And she goes, what's this bigger one right underneath it? I go, well, that's an actual turkey, wild turkey. And then talking about, do people hunt those? And I said, oh yeah, people hunt them. I was going through about turkeys, and we have friends that hunted turkeys and the geese and the ducks. She goes, people hunt ducks? And I'm, yes, honey, people hunt all of it, because she knows about deer and everything else. And I said, well, they do because we're called to do this. That's why these animals were put here. So I grabbed my Bible and opened up Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going through and showing her and talking about, and right in there again, it talks about how we take dominion. We have reign over these things. We're called to be stewards. Well, they're not doing that in Canada.
No, they're not doing that. No, they're not. No. And that's and not only are we not going to see the pretty sun, but for some of us, for people that have asthma, heart conditions, cardiovascular system, things they're struggling. What we can do is obviously don't go outside. I mean, that's the biggest thing you do. But if you have to, something that you might want to keep in the, on a shelf at some point is I'm a big proponent of, charcoal when you need to, because it's a binder. The thing is it binds everything, even it even binds your medicine. If you're on medicine, it binds your supplements. So you want to always take a binder away from your main things, but also to support your immune system from free radicals that might be floating around out there due to what's going on. Have a bottle of glutathione. A bottle of glutathione is.
I've been hearing so much about this recently. Wait, tell me.
Ya?
What maybe it's TikTok or something, but tell me, why am I hearing so much about this?
Oh, well, that's good news. If that's getting out, that's huge. Glutathione, our body, fearfully and wonderfully made, has glutathione cells inside of it. And our glutathione cells, what they are, it's the number one free radical killer. I'm like, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, although he's a Democrat, so probably shouldn't bring him up. I don't know, somebody really good. It's one of those. Hulk Hogan, is he good? I don't know. But anyways, glutathione is what your body needs to attack all of the free radicals coming into the body. So do I take it every day? No, I will, on a day like today, I've already pulled it out. I pulled out a glutathione patch that I use because it turns the frequencies on of my cells, glutathione cells. And I'm wearing that on today. As soon as I saw the fires, because you're the one that tipped it off, I'm like, oh, let me look at this. Like, oh, not good. Let me go get my stuff so I can prep my body for it. Because I don't want to feel yucky. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. When we look at all these different things that I think people have known about for years, and some of them, as you mentioned, suppressed. And it's funny because, you talk about this and we do every week, but the technology or the knowledge. A lot of these things have been suppressed. By the way, there's the Mackinac Bridge
Oh
this morning.
no. Yeah.
That's about an hour to go at the Mackinac
Yeah.
Bridge. That's Canadian
Wow.
wildfire
Yesterday
smoke.
I was talking to Trucker Randy from his on his show, and he was
Yeah, it's right
at
up
Trucker,
there.
and he was saying that they had it was 99 degrees up there, 25% humidity, and that don't let your dogs out. I mean, it was that hot up North Michigan. So now they're getting pelted with that. Yikes. Yeah.
I am sorry. I can't. I don't. I'm done with this, and I want people to realize we don't have to live this
No.
way. There's so much of a defeated attitude amongst people. Oh, there's just nothing we can do about it, and you're an idiot if you think so. This is just it's just
Well, listen,
crazy.
right? Yeah.
And again, it adds to the toxic junk that's going into our bodies that to go into
Man,
overload.
I mean, yeah, today I'm like, hey, God, let our people go. I'm like, where's Moses with a stick? Get us. And again, it's the power of prayer. And the Bible says vengeance is his. I mean, and timing is his. And I'm like, I want it now. I want it now. I'm so frustrated. Again, I'm not watching Twitter that much these days because it's maddening. But hopefully, your last guest, Mr. Colbeck, I am really hopeful that Thursday's meeting with President Trump his address to the, nation is going to finally give us, we're going to be able to exhale just a little bit going, okay, here we go. The tip of we're at the roller coaster, and this is when it just starts to go down. I feel like we've been doing this for a long time. Clap, 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 clap.
Hold my breath.
Good morning,
for the
Robin. So
Canadian
those
wildfires.
wildfires are actually burning in northern Minnesota right through Ontario, and the dense smoke from there is already traveling to the south and east. Toronto, for example, has the third worst air quality of populated cities around the world this morning, and that air will be coming here as those wildfires rage.
This morning,
Disgusting.
wildfires triggering thousands of evacuations in northern Minnesota. And out west, hot and dry conditions are supercharging flames in Napa County. Firefighters bulldozing fire lines to keep the combustion contained.
It's the same issue they've got out in California, and they because they're worshiping the earth and climate change and all of this, they let this stuff go. That's the question about how do you make any dent in any of these things that seem to be so insurmountable. It's an inside job. I want to talk about that too, by the way. Every week we discuss what we can do with our health to get us back on track. It's a holistic approach that they take at My Pure Health Solutions, Maha, Missy, and the team. By the way, if you want to know how you can be a part of what we're doing, the Maha mission, I'm down over 40 pounds. Lizzie, we're feeling great. We've got so many people. Every day there's like a new couple that joins us in the fight, which is awesome. And they get great results. Missy, it's not unheard of for us to hear people losing 30, 40 pounds every week or
Well,
something.
not only are you losing weight, but we're returning function to the inside of the body. People don't understand that there is literally on-off switches inside your body that determines whether your metabolism is working or not working. We've been led to believe, and I was part of that group up until about 14 years ago, that your mindset is, if I just alter something that I'm doing on the outside, it's going to impact something on the inside, which means I'm going to lose weight. I mean, something's going to work, whether I cut out carbs, cut out sugar, I go to the gym, I eat paleo, eat carnivore, I whatever. And some people get results, but for the majority of people, they're not. They maybe lose a little bit and then they plateau. And so the body is wonderfully made. It's so amazing. There are systems inside that controls whether or not your metabolism is working. And the metabolism is directly linked to your heart, your lungs, your insulin, your liver, your gut, your brain, your hormones. It's 2,800 systems inside the body that determines whether or not you're healthy or unhealthy. That's what's running the show, metabolism. And so when people come in and they choose to get off the system, they want to lose weight and they want off their drugs. You get both, because the metabolism is linked to all those things. That's everything while you're on medication. So just recently we had a lady who her and her aortic aneurysm is gone. She had an aneurysm on her carotid artery. That was gone after 40 days with us. And her
Oh my
kidneys that
goodness.
had nodules and cysts on them, she'd been being treated or seen for the last 3 years monthly because they were hoping she wouldn't have to go on dialysis. It was not good. Her kidneys got a clear bill of health. They can't find anything wrong with them. They're like, we'll see you in 6 months. And she lost 30 pounds in 40 days. I'm like, hey, I mean, I want it all. I want it all for people. And so, yeah, it's not your fault that the scale's not moving because you just don't know what was actually running the system. And so, yeah, I mean, blood pressure medication, type 2. I don't care if you've been a type 2 diabetic for 30 years. You call me if you want to get off of it. Acid reflux, call me if you want to get off of it and lose some weight. I mean, people that have sleep apnea machines, I mean, they're throwing those out left and right because their body's functioning again because of our technology allows us to scan inside the body the most important systems in the body controlling you, that allows you to wake up every day, go to sleep, eat your food, digest your food. All of that is thanks to the network on the inside. And the medical models never taught us about this network because the medical model was never told about it when they went to school. They weren't even told how to eat good food when they went to school either. So
This is why it can't possibly be your fault, because if they don't know, how are you supposed to know? Women are losing 28 pounds in 40 days. Men 35 to 50, 2 to 3 pant sizes. It's incredible. And again, you're going to have all those other great, sleeping well at night, people coming off their sleep apnea machines, and having all the energy to do the things that you want to do on a daily basis. Jeanette, I'm so excited for you. She says in the chat she has her appointment with Charity on Monday. You're going to love Charity.
Charity's my business partner. She's awesome. She's worked for me for
She's a ray of sunshine. Oh, she's so hopeful and helpful and encouraging. But yeah, reach out today, 269-964-4044, or go to healthwithjustin.com, because this sale's going to wrap up soon. That's America 250 sale, 25% off, and you're going to want to get in and get it done. I can't wait. Now, let me ask you about this one. This is the daylight savings time. We've heard, I know somebody who has been, I've had these strange schedules, like sleep schedules with work, where I got up super early and had to deal with all kinds of crazy things. So I know, like, it can impact, and the lack of sunshine specifically in the wintertime. Boy, I really feel it. It really can impact your health. With what this Trump bill does, is going to keep us on the permanent where we are right now throughout the year long. What do you make of this? And are we going to see some massive? Is this part of that Maha mission? Are we going to see some massive movement here too?
Yes, this is part of the thing. I mean, the needle's moving, but most people wouldn't know that what Trump is doing is actually going to be a great biohack for our body, because our body was made. Let me just read this really quick, because preparing for the show, I'm like, what about this? The scripture, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, right? So it said in Psalm 139, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mom's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully, wonderfully made. So I'm like, break that down along with daylight savings time is what I asked it. And it said, basically what David was saying is, like, the word knit, it says the Hebrew fearfully, wonderfully, says, when I consider, when David said, oh, here it is. David says God knit or wove him together. So we're going to look at the word knit. It says that language is of integration. A woven fabric is not a pile of unrelated threads. Every thread crosses another thread. Each contributes to the whole. So your body works like this. I mean, this fits. This is exactly what I talk about all the time. Your body works like this. The brain communicates with your organs. Yes, your brain has to communicate with every single organ in the body, and it does that through the central nervous system. I learned that at chiropractic school. Hormones communicate with distant tissues. How are they communicating? Through frequencies. Nerves carry electrical pulses. Cells release chemical messengers, frequencies. The immune system reads and responds to signals, frequencies. Your sleep, your digestion, your temperature, your hunger, your energy, your reproductive follow coordinated cycles. So timing, cycles, right? So David just doesn't possess modern vocabulary about hormones and circadian clocks inside our body or electrical membranes, but he understood that something's pretty amazing on the inside of the body. So it says, hey, you're mentioning
Yes.
timing. It says your body doesn't simply need the correct substances, it needs them delivered in the correct amount, space, sequence, and time. So listen to this one, and then we can like kind of end here. But it says a hormone released at the wrong time can produce a different response than the same hormone released at the right time. So same hormone released at the wrong time, not the same result. It's like showing up for the race at midnight and the race was at 8 o'clock in the morning. You showed up, but it's the wrong time, right? The heart must contract in sequence. Sleep hormones rise and fall. Hunger and fullness signals change throughout the day. So again, the rhythm's part of the creation. Light and darkness, evening and morning, work and rest.
So, yeah, let me ask you about that then. When you're talking about this and the sequence and whatnot, how much of a role does that play when it comes to, look, naturally we didn't have alarm clocks. We didn't need them. We woke up when the sun came up. We went to bed when the sun went down. And we had this agrarian sort of centric culture. That's what everything was built on. And our bodies responded in kind to it. Now we've got all this LED light we're staring at. We're getting up before the sun comes up and we're going to sleep. So break that down
basically,
for us.
yes. So listen to this. It says the primary reason our bodies will, I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, tell me why our bodies are going to celebrate this whole thing. I'm like, I always like to hear it in another language besides what I say. And it says, the primary reason our bodies will celebrate ending the time switch is to the elimination of sudden transition that we face every March. When we spring forward and abruptly lose an hour of sleep, it triggers an immediate systemic stress response. Data consistently shows that in the days immediately following the springtime change, the human body suffers measurable disruptions, cardiovascular spikes. There is a well-documented rise in heart attacks, strokes, episodes of irregular heartbeats, an acute. I always say that word wrong. An acute. That one. And then acute sleep deprivation. The average person loses 15 to 30 minutes of sleep per night during the transition week, spiking levels of the stress hormone.
So cortisol is hard at work there when we have to go through those changes.
Absolutely.
And this would be, again, states can decide they're going to get out of it. They're going to do whatever, if they want to. It can be a state by state because every state's different. I've always thought about Michigan, and should we be on Central Time or should we be on Eastern Time? I think we're like on the far end of that. So that's another question that I would look at as well, because
I mean, it's not the answer that I'm looking for, because I'm more of a social person, and that's where it works well for us social people that we don't want it to be dark out at 7 o'clock at night. For the socialness, because we're working, we're just getting out, don't want to get out dark time. But ideally, it would be where we would be waking up with natural light, not waking up and being in pitch black till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's a trade-off. Ideally, you should. The sun, and it's just insane how they keep trying to take away the sun. Feeds our body in so many ways that we don't even know.
I'm getting my dose this summer. I'm telling you, man. I am stocking up on that vitamin D, and I have never been happier. I got more good news for you before we get out of here. Look at this. Smelling chocolate. Some dark chocolate could make your leg day work easier. Even on an empty stomach, they say. Okay, so the story is basically this: smelling dark chocolate makes you much stronger. How does that work?
Oh man, this was fun. So I like
eating it.
I'm like, smell it. So what they did is they took a bunch of guys that are doing reps on the machine, and they took them to their max. Well, what was happening is they took some of the guys, and the key thing was that no one had ate for 10 hours. So they're going to go work out and just see how this works. So the guys go to work out, and then after so many reps, when the body's like fatigued and they're like, I've got no more juice in the system, Some of the guys smelled dark chocolate. Well, what happens, the physiological phenomenon happened at that point. The body senses we're about ready to eat food, and it gives you a burst of energy because as you're maxing out in your reps, your body's using all of its energy reserves. And it's like, hey, I'm worn out. And, I got no more juice in the battery. You haven't fed me in a hot minute. So I'm going to protect you and I'm going to bonk out for a little bit. Well, when the people smelled the dark chocolate, the body sensed a good, healthy meal is coming, a robust meal. That
It's like a
dark chocolate.
psychological, physiological.
It's a physiological, this crazy
Wow.
thing that you can't control. And all of a sudden, the guys they were able to push out more reps. The guys that smelled the milk chocolate, it made them happy, and I don't think they were able to push out as many reps. They were still
Probably
hungry.
sugar. Yeah.
They were still
Probably sugar.
hungry. The guys smelling the dark chocolate weren't hungry. They felt like they were about ready. I don't know. It's the craziest thing. So it's and then the people that had water, nothing, because the body still feels like you're not going to feed me. But yeah, it was really cool reading that article. I'm like, interesting. I'm like, I wonder how many people are going to have some dark chocolate these days at the gym.
Speaking of really cool, what a great story. Ben Sass, former senator, who has gone through, and I don't know if you've been watching, but he's been very open about his faith through this whole thing, but he's gone through this really tough journey that he's been facing with cancer, and the tumors, they say, have shrunk by 80% thanks to a new drug. Sass says, I'm down 99% in 5 months of how much my cancer is in my blood. That is an incredible story and a miracle. It sounds like maybe.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, again, the body knows how to heal itself. You just have to give it the right tools. You're not going to try to pound a nail in your wall by getting out a spatula. Well, depends on how heavy the spatula is. But I mean, you got to use the right tool to go after the, obviously logic. And unfortunately in America, we just, healthy people kind of ruins this sick care model. It's not healthcare, it's called sick care. I call it sick care because no one's getting better. You walk in with one ailment and you walk out with 5 prescriptions for one thing, because if you fix the one thing, if you fix your targeted issue with this one drug, that drug is going to cause a side effect that's going to cause this, that's going to cause that, it's going to cause this, and all you did was go in for like acid reflux and you walked out with 4 pills. It's like Yeah. So I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what trick. I think I heard it's a drug. I don't know what the drug is.
There's a new drug. He's in clinical trials for it, and I don't know much about it. I'll have to do a little digging. Maybe we can look at it next week. But it's pancreatic cancer. It's not. They don't. People don't survive that.
No, it took out Steve Jobs. I mean, Michael Landon. But there was a really good cancer doctor years ago that was doing really, really well. But unfortunately, he got suicided, and so did his. I mean, you had to have it was like an underground tunnel to get into his system because he. But let's just say that there are cures, there are treatments out there, and I half wondered if he wasn't using frequencies to destroy the cancer cells, and if that would become part of because if people are watching them. And be interesting to find out, is it a drug or is it actually, what Dr. Royal Rife used, in 1920 and 30 to destroy the cancer cells immediately on the spot, because cancer cells are electrical. Anything electrical can be turned on and off. Cells are no different. And that's why Nikola Tesla had been said, you got to understand, if you want to understand the universe, you're going to have to know what a frequency is. It's controlling everything. And Albert Einstein said, future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. And that's what we do to heal the body from inside. You have to go and you have to understand how the body runs, and you have to turn systems back on so that your body fights. Your body fights off the bad guys, and then your body can naturally turn off the bad guys as well.
And again, it's that suppressed technology and knowledge of the medicine. The folks, look out. Healthwithjustin.com. Call 269-964-4044 and schedule your conversation with Maha Missy. or charity, and they'll have a great conversation with you and get you started and going in the right direction, like so many of us who are enjoying the Maha mission together. Always a pleasure. Some great news today. Maha, Missy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless and enjoy your weekend. And like, can't wait for Thursday's message. So,
Amen. I'm on pins and
Woo, me too.
folks.